I guess it depends where you go to shop for stuff, right? Because oftentimes when you go to the farmer's market and you're standing there at a produce stand, you're looking at strawberries or something like that, and the farmer or whatever running the stand is going to give you some. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Here, try this,
Yes.
try this, try this. So
That's the best way to do it. isn't it?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's change gears here a little bit. Peruz Jafari from Elixir Bistro down in Cambridge. What's the best thing you've ever eaten?
The best thing I've ever eaten. I love pomegranate. I love pomegranate.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's the best thing you've ever eaten.
That's the best thing. I remember I've had 25 of them on a row.
Pea pomegranate.
You will turn red.
Yeah.
I could have up to 80 of them.
Oh my goodness! So this is also a native a fruit that I guess is a fruit that you're very familiar with because it's a sort of another one of those fruits that develops in the sort of the Middle East hot climates.
Yes, it is, and it has all 4 tastes in it, except the first one, which is MSG.
Or umami, is that what you mean?
Yes, umami. Yes.
Yeah, so bitter, salty, sweet, and sour. You like that combination. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking, but I never thought about it like that. Tara, how about you?
Well, I'm very fortunate because my husband's a chef, so we go out a ton, and I've had amazing food from all over the world. We like to travel and been to New York, but I think the best thing that I ever had is my husband's sweet potato gnocchi.
Oh, there we
It
go.
is hands down the best thing.
Nice.
It's delicious.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Jarrett worked with JD too, so.
Do you know, I've heard that in a couple of locations now. There was somebody else I know, I can't remember, it was another chef, and it was a lady, and she said that her husband's ragu on a noodle or a gnocchi was her favorite as well. So there must be something about that pasta.
Yeah, that
with,
homemade,
that
heavy,
homemade, yeah.
you
It's
know,
the ultimate
like,
comfort food.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
exactly,
Just
exactly.
like pierogies. Like
Yeah.
I'm Ukrainian, so that's like, you know, it's like my blood is pierogies, right? But
Jared, how about you? Best thing you've ever eaten? And
Well,
it can't be something
it's-
that you cooked yourself.
Yeah, no. It's a tough question. Recently, I'm gonna go ahead and plug the Bauer Kitchen here for Tara, and
Nice.
their Bauer Kitchen's roasted bone marrow
oh yeah,
Ooh.
it's beautiful.
is absolutely fantastic.
That sounds good. I saw some of those in a store once, and I was sort of looking at them, thinking, okay, what would I do with those? I can cook many things, and I'm pretty adventurous, but I wouldn't really know how I would cook those. So how would I put them together? Roasted.
Oh,
bone.
yeah,
If you had them cut, you just
yeah,
season them and
season
throw them
them
in an
and throw
oven
them
and
in, and
just
just
roast them
no-
until they look good to you.
No liquid in there
No.
at all? No, really?
No, just
okay.
dry
Because all
roasted,
the
yeah.
fat comes
little
out.
salt and pepper, and
okay.
Yeah.
then you want to serve it with accompaniments, right? I think that's what it's all about. Is
Something
having
pickled usually
yeah, some
key.
pickles, some toast,
bread,
something
yeah.
salty like a caper.
My
or something
accompaniment
like
is
that.
usually a really full-bodied red wine.
Oh, that works
perfect.
with just
Yeah.
about everything.
All right. Okay. So are you ready for your test? Now I've given you pencil and paper here, and this is going to be a little black box test. Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 or 4 ingredients, and you got to come up with a meal. You got to come up with a couple of courses out of it. See how much you can do. You'll have 3 or 4 minutes during the commercial break. Okay. So rabbit. You're gonna have some rabbit. I'll say it's fresh and uncooked, so you need to cook it. Jerusalem artichoke, aka the Canada potato. A black radish. A turnip, white turnip, not the rutabaga, the little white turnips. And we'll just say, I'll let you pick a pasta. I'll say tagliatelle or gnocchi or something like that. Okay, so those are your ingredients, and they're little doo 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 doo. The clock is ticking, and you are going to be coming up with a couple of dishes for us during the break. You're listening to The Food Show. We have to take a break right now, but there will be more, and we'll get some feedback from Peruz Jafari of Elixir Bistro, Jarrett Flanagan of Borealis Grill House and Pub in Kitchener, Tara Jacobson of the Bauer Kitchen, the Bauer Bakery. And we'll see what they come up with for their black box exercise here on The Food Show. I'm Andrew Coppolino. This is 570 News.
Best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
Oh, Laura, weren't we naughty? We were awful making them do this black box test. Eh? So cool.
We do like to play tricks on people.
But you know what? I think there's about 30 or 40 or maybe even 50 years of collective experience here in cooking. So I think they can handle it. I think
so, too.
So the ingredients were rabbit, Jerusalem artichoke, which is an unusual tuber. I don't know how familiar you all are with it.
It's delicious.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Black radish, which I love. And I'll tell you how I prepare it in my amateurish kind of way. A turnip and some tagliatelle or gnocchi pasta. Peruz Jafari of Elixir Bistro down in Cambridge. tell us about a couple of dishes that you would come up with those ingredients. Sit closer to the mic.
I make rabbit terrine. Usually we make it at Elixir and we serve it for appetizer. I make rabbit cacciatore or rabbit au chasseur also.
The hunter's version, right? Chasseur, cacciatore. Yeah, cool,
Yes.
cool.
We make it and we serve it also at Elixir most of the time. And the sunflower root or artichoke, Jerusalem artichoke,
Yes.
is good to fry it sometimes, and it's good to use it in a stir fry. And I used to do it in Toronto, but I haven't used it here.
Okay.
And the black radish, traditionally, we eat it in my family raw with the fresh herbs.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes,
I like to
and-
grate it on salads
Yes.
and things.
Yes, it
Nice.
is. It is very good, and it has a lot of nutrition, and it is very good for your health and your blood system also.
Yes.
And the pasta is a common food for everybody around the world, and it's depending how much, what technique you use or what ingredient you put in your pasta. You can make variable dishes.
So the chasseur cacciatore Mediterranean stew basically with the base of a pasta would just be a classic pairing, and boy would it ever be good on a cold fall day, huh?
Yes, it is.
And the rabbit,
Yes.
excellent, nicely done. Laura, you could keep track here. Well, I don't know if we can declare that there'll be a winner, but we'll want to see. Well, you pick your favorite, okay? So you got chicken cacciatore, rabbit cacciatore or chasseur. Tara Jacobson, the Bauer Bakery, and the Charcoal Group.
Okay, so I was thinking comfort food since we were already kind of talking about pierogies and gnocchi and that. So I went with a Haas and Pfeffer stew. I would roast some mirepoix and deglaze with a full-bodied red wine and have some fresh herbs. That I would serve on a turnip and potato gnocchi with ricotta cheese. Then I would have roasted black radishes roasted with brown sugar and butter.
Ooh.
And then Jerusalem artichoke chips seasoned with Hawaiian pink salt, so it would be like a crunchy, salty,
Nice.
served on top.
That sounds great. I like the sound of that. I've never roasted a black radish.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I think
Yeah?
it would be delicious.
Okay.
And yeah, because you got a little bit of the radish and then a little bit of the sweet, and
Nice.
butter's
Okay.
good on everything.
Very
So
good. And Haas and Pfeffer, I always laugh at the Haas and Pfeffer because I think there's a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon? Where's my Haas and Pfeffer?
Yeah.
All right. Jarrett Flanagan from Borealis Grill House and Pub in Kitchener. What would you prepare with your black box ingredients?
Well, I mean, rabbit's always tough, or not tough,
Difficult.
tough, but difficult. Yeah, exactly. That's the other way. Dries out very quickly. So I was thinking, take the legs off the rabbit, braise them, and throw them on some for pasta. Throw them on some parpadelle, really, really rich sauce from braising liquid. Cut the turnips nice and small, fry them, and put them on top for a nice little bit of crisp in there.
Okay.
And probably top the whole thing off with, I don't know if you're familiar with the Toscano cheese from Monforte Dairy.
I am.
That's a really, really nice sharp cheese that would go on top of there, but not too overwhelming. And again, with the rabbit drying out really quickly, I thought I would make a grilled rabbit loin salad. You can put Jerusalem artichoke puree on the bottom, lots of butter, lots of cream. Make
I love
it really
that in
rich.
the puree.
Yeah, throw that on the bottom. Grilled rabbit loin on top. Some nice kind of timid greens, there's some sorrel, some mizuna, and I would pickle the black radish and throw it in there.
Nice. So you took as much latitude as you could with the black box ingredients and added all kinds of other ingredients in there too. Mizuna, that's a nice one. Very good. Well, Laura, what do you think? I like the idea of all of them. They all have a sort of a stewish kind of quality, I guess. And that's probably a good way to cook rabbit, I guess. I'm getting from the chefs here
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it sort of needs to be cooked down like that. It's not the kind of thing you plunk down on a plate in a loin form, I guess. Like
no, not really. You can also do like a roulade with it, but you put caul fat on it to keep it from
Yeah.
drying out.
Yeah,
And yeah,
okay.
yeah. But braising it is, I think,
It
the way
needs
to go.
lots of fat.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. And boy, fat is flavorful. Laura, what do you think? I'm not gonna say anything because I might be that's just I don't want to use my influence here with
Yeah,
the
don't
microphone.
influence
Yeah, okay.
this
Yeah,
answer.
so
It's gotta be pure.
That's
Well,
right. What do you think?
I think that they all sound like they're the
very
exact
diplomatic.
type of yeah,
Yeah.
they all sound like they're the exact type of meal that you need to eat on a day like today where it's cloudy out and you just want to have some comfort food. Which is why I think I'm with Tara on this one.
Okay.
They all sound great, but if you're gonna pair anything with wine, I'm on board.
Yeah, nice.
Wine and bacon, eh? Wine and bacon are my two
Yeah.
favorite accompaniments. Isn't that bad?
They really go with everything.
Well, I'm speaking with Perus Jafari of Elixir Bistro in Cambridge, Jarrett Flanagan, the Borealis Grill House and Pub in Kitchener, and Tara Jacobson. She's the executive pastry chef at the new Bauer Bakery in the Bauer Kitchen, which is part of the Charcoal Group, of course. Guys, what are your thoughts on this region now as a dining region, as a place to go for food, not necessarily in restaurants, but just generally the markets, what kind of events that are happening around? We just had the Waterloo Region Food and Drink Expo, which is the first time for this region. Produce, let's start with you because you bring an outside perspective from the Toronto. What are you learning as you've gotten more knowledge about this area? What are you finding? What are the faults? You can say the faults. You can say what the good things are. Say what the bad things are. What do you think?
Well, we have a lot of good restaurants here, but they all are in one line of cooking. They all are meat and potato steaks, and there are few who are not, and I can consider myself one of those few, Langdon Hall, and I guess another one. I don't want to advertise anybody's
Sort of
restaurant.
Cambridge. Well, sort of Cambridge.
Yes, but I think our cuisine here should be in the line of what our farmers produces, and we could create new dishes out of the ingredient that they are around us here.
Okay.
I know we're, in terms of cuisine, we're behind from Toronto at least like around 12 years. Like, for example, when the first year I came here, I remember like I served 40 people, like 30 of them order chicken parmigiana with cheese.
Yeah.
I remember that I used the smoked chicken in the pasta, and then a guy came and he didn't want to be charged, and we didn't charge him. He said it tasted like a ham because the ham is smoky and the smoked chicken is smoky.
Yeah.
But now we're totally advanced, from now
Okay.
till then. People are trying a lot of different things.
Okay, let's pick up on that. You think that the dining scene here is a little bit behind Toronto, and I guess in a way, I mean, that we could say the same thing, that Toronto is behind New York and all that kind of thing. So these are relative kinds of qualifications. Tara, what are your thoughts? How do you?
Well, I don't exactly agree with you. I think that dining in KW has leaps and bounds in the last 5 years. I think that we have tons of great restaurants, and there will always be meat and potato restaurants because that's what a lot of the clientele want. But we also have a much better educated clientele now. I think that the more restaurants that we put out that are, pushing the boundaries and that, the more people want that. I think that you're right about the, using local as much as we possibly can. It's a little more difficult at this time of year, but I mean, I love going to the market and, purchasing our potatoes, and, we go to Arva Mill for our flowers and things like that, which is awesome. But I really think that the population in general in this area is becoming much more educated. I can put, ingredients like bacon with cheesecake and people are loving it, whereas
Before
maybe
you couldn't do
you
that.
couldn't do stuff like that, or putting chilies with chocolate and people are, just eating that up, so to speak. So
Jarrett, jump in.
I kind of agree with both of you in one sense. As far as fine dining goes, which I think is what he's talking about, we are a few steps behind from Toronto, but that's just considering the industry standard, really. I agree with Tara that we are a constantly growing culinary region. We have made leaps and bounds in the past 5 or 6 years, really. I think that what I would like to see more of in the region are really good little places that are just famous for a lot of things. And to plug somebody in that respect, Hogtails.
Yeah,
up in
Hogtails.
Waterloo, right? And I guess they're opening up a restaurant now.
Smokehouse.
Yeah.
The Lancaster Smokehouse.
I would love to see more places like that. The kind of things that the guys talk about when you watch The Best Thing I Ever Ate and stuff like that. A lot of it's big fine dining restaurants, but a lot of it's just tiny little places that are just really famous for one little thing, and that really touches more with the people than the big chain restaurants and stuff like that do, and that's what I'd like to see more of.
Are you happy? And we'll go back to you, Peruse. Are you happy with the fresh food movement, with the connection between the farmers in our region and restaurants that are bringing that stuff into the restaurants and people's receptivity to it? That is how people are saying, yeah, I demand to have a local piece of meat, a local, as local as we can get, Lake Erie fish, local herbs, local vegetables. Are you happy with the way that's developed, or do you still see that we're behind here?
I'm absolutely happy with that. Local fish, it got to be a pool fish. I don't serve pool fish in my restaurant.
You mean farm fish?
Farm fish,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I prefer to use wild
Something
fish.
right out of the
yes.
wild. Okay.
But I would like to work hard, to help and support our farmers.
Okay.
Because the region is based on some industry and farmers, and those people who work in industry are children of those farmers. So we all are depending on each other like a chain. So we have to support each other.
Oh, good point. Tara, your thoughts? The food movement, is it going the direction that you're happy with?
I
you
think
see
so.
it?
Yeah, I think that we're finally starting to move back to our roots. My grandparents were farmers, and we ate what was in season or what was pickled in a jar, right? So the food was always beautiful and simple and fresh, and I'm glad that we're finally starting to do that here, and not thinking that we have to get all of our fruits and vegetables from Chile, and if something is out of season, you just don't get it. Like you don't.
Or you've got it in a preserved form.
That's
or
right. That's
jarred
right.
tomatoes
You don't have to have it. When it's. I always laugh at people that put tomato salads on in the winter. It's just not right.
No.
Yeah.
Jared, the Borealis Grill House, obviously the taste of Ontario, it calls itself. Also all the green and the sort of, you're part of that movement in a very integral way. What about around you? What do you see generally among the dining population for the sort of whether we've embraced fully enough the food movement that's current, or whether we need to go another direction?
I think the direction that the food movement is going in Ontario is fantastic, and I think it is progressing in the right direction. I do think we have a long way to go. The Borealis, us personally, it's absolutely fantastic. Like when farmers hear about our concept, and I've got them knocking at my door all the time. Like we have to turn a lot of them away because we just can't carry everybody's ingredients, but there's so much local food out there, and because of the suppliers and farmers that I deal with, I look at other people's menus and I start seeing things like Lake Erie pickerel popping up here more and more all over the place, and I say, I can't know where that's coming from, and you know what I mean? So I'm very connected to the food movement, and we are going in the right direction, but I do think we have a long ways to go.
Okay, well said. Well put. Thank you very much. That's it's difficult to talk about some things when you might be directing certain comments at your customers that you'd like to see. But I think part of what restaurants do is educate the population. I think restaurants have to take a lead in that. And I know Proust can speak out quite controversially sometimes to tell people this is what he thinks about a food movement and what he thinks about certain dishes and whatnot, and ask people to think about what they're eating. So it's good that we have the discussion. We do have to take a break. Don't go away though, because there's more in the food show right after these messages. You're listening to 570 News.
This is the Food Show with Andrew Coppolino. To call Andrew, 519-570-2545. By cell, star 570. Or toll free, 1-800-570-5715.
And there we are. This is the last segment of the show. We have a few minutes left. We're going to do a couple more things. One of the things I want to try to get to, Laura, can we try to, let's see if we can hunt down those people in Winnipeg. We'll find a sports bar there, and we'll see what they're serving for Super Bowl. If there's any, why do I always say that? The Grey Cup. Sorry, Grey Cup. I love the Grey Cup. I love CFL football. Let's go. I'm going to go on the record right now, and I prefer CFL to NFL. So I keep saying Super Bowl. It's obviously an indication of all the marketing that's done with the Super Bowl. We'll see what we can drudge up from a bar in Winnipeg, Portage in Maine, or something like that, and find out what they're cooking there for the Grey Cup. We also want to acknowledge the great job that was done at the Food and Drink Expo, Waterloo Region Food and Drink Expo, put on by Grand River Shows and was sponsored in part by 570 News, who were one of the media sponsors. And they had a lot of suppliers coming in, a lot of restaurants were involved, a few restaurants were involved, as well as all the great little food shops that were in the Kitchener market itself. So Croatian cuisine. There's a Kapapusa place in there, those apple fritters they make. So it was really great to see, and I think there were probably nearly 15,000 people that churned through there in the 3 days. Really great to see that kind of interest in a food culture. And I think that it's important that we start to establish that kind of relationship with our general public and show other outlying areas what's happening in Waterloo Region. It's very important, I think, that we let people know what's happening in the region and our townships. Around food. One of the things that I'm able to talk to people in Toronto on occasion, and they ask me what's happening in the Waterloo region. And I say, well, one of the neat things is I can be in Cambridge. I can be in downtown Kitchener. I can be in downtown Waterloo, and I can get in my car and I can pick up the expressway or the 401, and in 10 minutes, I can be in the middle of a farmer's field in, and standing there with, I mean, people in Toronto can't do that. Bruce, you'll tell me that, you used to work in downtown Toronto. You got to go hour north, or come here. Exactly. Yeah, good. Poor Bruce.
We had to. I'm not from here. So.
And I can't tell you the number of chefs that I work with and talk to in Stratford. They come in to dine at our restaurants because some of the ethnic cuisines and things, they don't have them there, and it's a seasonal kind of place. And here we have just this great culture, and we're so close to our farmers. I mean, just looking out, this is on the 11th floor of the building. We look out into what I see then as west, I guess, and I can see where we're entering into some of our farmland, and there's farmland right out there, and it really is just literally a stone's throw away. Okay, we can't get that restaurant in Winnipeg, so Laura will keep trying. We'll figure something out. In the meantime, what I want to ask you guys, what do you eat? What do you go for when you're not cooking? Like if you have a day off and you've got one restaurant to go to because you've got a day off, whether it's a family day or not, or whether it's just by yourself, what do you go for, Jarrett? What's the choice? You don't have to say the restaurant necessarily, but you can the kind of food.
It's usually Asian.
Yeah,
usually. Yeah, I'm a big sushi guy. I tend to it's either sushi, hot and sour soup, or alternatively Southern barbecue.
Okay. Which we already heard about indirectly. Okay, Tara Jacobson.
That's funny because I'm very similar to that. It's either sushi or Thai or something like that. And we also go for Southern barbecue as well. Okay. So,
Bruce, what about you? Day off, and you can't say pomegranate.
No, I go for vegetarian.
You go vegetarian? Okay.
Yes.
Really?
But what about the seasoning and the flavors in it? You just look for anything in particular?
I love vegetables, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. So you just go to a
Root,
vegetarian
leaves,
restaurant?
Stem, I eat them all.
I'll eat them all, yeah? Okay. The question I'm going to assume then, for the purpose of this question, and because I'm the host and I can do pretty well what I want, I'm going to say that you went and had some kind of Asian-style vegetables. Is that fair?
Good.
Good. Okay, so now I got 3 cooks here. You're all picking Asian. Why? I've heard this before, and I've heard this many times, and I know sometimes it's because the Asian restaurants are open late and you can go after your own shift, but we're talking about when you have time out. Why Asian, Tara?
Well, I love fish. I'm a big fish eater, and I love fresh fish. So you tend to get nice fresh fish and rice, and I love the flavor combinations. I always have, and I love red curries and things like that, right? So that's what appeals to me is those types of flavor combinations.
And they really buzz up the taste buds, I guess, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, and some heat and I like that.
Jarrett? Is there a reason why it's Asian?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're looking at it, if you're talking sushi, if you're talking Japanese, it's like the freshest thing on the planet. Really, you can't get any fresher than sushi. And I think for that reason, just every single ingredient just speaks for itself. It's not treated with anything. It's not cooked. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, beauty and simplicity.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. It doesn't have to be complicated.
And then if you're going like Chinese or Thai or Indian, you're talking like big, just kind of punchy in the face flavors, and it's just like lemongrass and ginger and just everything's so big and bold, and they're very good. The Thai especially are very good about throwing 6 very, very, very strong flavors into the same dish and having them all speak for themselves and all work together at the same time. It's really quite amazing.
Well, you guys are like puppet each other almost.
We've been working on and off together for about 5 years. So,
and Bruce, obviously you find that's what vegetables are for you. They represent the simplicity and the simple ingredients and clear, distinctive flavors.
They're very healthy, and for people my age, I need to have vegetable more than red meat.
Okay, all right. Greatest, really quick, we only have about a minute or so left. What's the greatest failed recipe or kitchen disaster that you've had? It can be in your own kitchen, doesn't have to be in a professional kitchen.
Okay, I've got one.
Came right to mind, eh? Tara?
Yeah. It's back when I was an apprentice. I was making soup, and it was one of the first times I was making soup, and I was making a ham and split pea, and I really didn't know what I was doing, so, I was making it, and I was throwing in handfuls of this powdered base, and, because I was like, it's not very dark, and I'm throwing in this stuff in, and then I tasted it, oh my God, and it was salty, so I thought, well, maybe I'll throw in a can of tomatoes. Then the soup was pink. And so a salty pink ham soup. Okay. And my chef came along and tasted it. He's like, let's just not even try.
Jarrett, real quick.
I There was this. It's a funny story. There's a soup I made at the Bauer Kitchen actually when I worked with Tara, and I had this idea for a grilled apple for whatever reason. I had this idea for grilled apple and coconut soup.
Okay, I got to stop you there because we only have time. Grilled apple and coconut soup didn't work?
No.
Okay. Bruce, what about your worst recipe ever?
Just burn the potatoes.
Burn the potatoes.
To make mashed potato. The pot was covered, so
Nice.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you being here. That's all the time we have for the show this week. I want to thank Peruse Jafari from Elixir Bistro in Cambridge. That's elixirbistro.ca, as well as Jarrett Flanagan, Borealis Grill House and Pub in Kitchener. That's Borealis Grill with an E.ca. And, of course, Tara Jacobson at the Bauer Kitchen and the Bauer Bakery. That's bowerbakery.ca. Thanks also to our cameraman here, Greg Bowen, and our operator, Laura. Visit 570 News for 570news.com for an archive of past shows. And follow the Food Show at twitter.com 570 News Food Show, and read my column in the Kitchener Post each and every Friday. Join us next week for more on the Food Show. We'll be sipping some coffee with the folks from Matter of Taste. Remember, eat wisely and eat well. Thank you for joining us here on the Food Show, only on 570 News.
The 2012 Lexus RX 350 has arrived at Hefner Lexus.